So if you found that prompt helpful for using AI to aggregate reviews, please let me know. I have additional prompts if you'd find them helpful, things like moving to a new city to find what neighborhood you should be in, things like that, that I'd be happy to share. But I'd like to move on to a topic that I think might be a little bit more insightful for you guys. And I want to start with, how much should you be spending on rent? Okay, so when we start talking about what you can or should spend on rent, I want to tackle this from two different aspects. The first being what you're going to be screened for. So when you go and you apply for your apartment, you should be provided with a document that's called the qualification guidelines or qualification standards. This is literally the standardized screening criteria for all applicants equally. In this, it's going to indicate what documents you need to provide for proof of income, as well as what factor of the base rent you need to demonstrate that you bring in. Typically, you will need to show 2.5 to 3 times the base rent amount. This does not include parking, this does not include pet fees, this does not include any of the other gajillion different fees that could be tacked on there, just the base rent. But you need to show 2.5 to 3 times the base rent. I want to put some specific numbers to this. So as of Q4 2024, median income for an individual, full-time working individual in the US was $62,000 annualized. That works out to about 5.2K monthly, which means that based on the screening criteria alone, you would qualify based on this income for a rent of $1,722 a month up to $2,066 per month. The second thing that I want you to consider is what that screening criteria equates to in terms of the percentage of your gross income. So 2.5 to 3 times equates to 33 to 40% of your gross income when you are thinking about what you want to spend on your apartment home. Just because the apartment community will allow you to qualify for up to 40% of your gross income, is that really what you want to be putting that money towards? And remembering that it's gross. So after taxes, if you factor in taxes, you could be spending half. If you factor in taxes and your rent, if you're spending 40% of your gross income and then paying 10% or more in taxes, you will be spending 50% on your housing. Maybe that's important to you and maybe that's what you want to do. Typically, historically, people have recommended that you not spend more than 30% on your housing, but we know with rents going up and up and up these days, typically previously you were screened for 3 times flat across the board, but because of the increases in rent, 2.5 times was introduced to get you up to that 40% because rents are on the rise. But really take the time to think about what the rent that you're about to spend equates to in terms of your gross monthly income. When we look by the numbers at the percentage of gross rent at an average income of $62K annualized, 33% of that would be $20,460 a year. 40% would be $24,800 a year. Okay, so when it comes to the question of how much you can or should spend on rent, we want to start from the place of knowing what you're going to be screened for, whether it's the 2.5 or the 3 times the base monthly rent, and then move into what percentage of your gross monthly income you're actually comfortable spending. Just because you qualify doesn't mean you have to spend 40% of your income on rent. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And I hope this helps you rent smarter and live better.